Hello Internet, and welcome to this tutorial series on Shopify Hydrogen SEO, and today's focus is on HTTP headers. What are they used for, and how can we add them to our Shopify Hydrogen storefront? Well, in previous videos we have been adding a lot of SEO meta tags via the meta function, as you can see here. Via the meta function, if I go to the code quickly, you see that we added the meta function in the collections, in the products page as well, and in the search pages. Obviously you can add them to other pages that are relevant for SEO purposes that you want to index. All right, but what is the problem? It's not necessarily the problem, but some of the limitations of the meta tags. Okay, and why do we sometimes want to use the header functions to add headers, HTTP headers, to add some of the SEO and other technical SEO things to our pages. Okay, so if we open the inspector tool here and we look at the head of the product page, you can see that it's starting to add up. Right, we have a lot of things here in our head, and all of them combined contribute to the page size, right? So if we keep adding and adding, before we know it, the header can be, let's say, 10% of the size page, right? So that's why Google gives us different ways to add more or less the same information, either via the HTTP, the meta tags, which we have been doing so far, via the HTTP headers, okay, or via the sitemap, okay. And you can see, for example, this is the case of the hreflang here, hreflang, which is when you have like a multi-site, an international site that you want to translate into multiple languages. It's the same applies for canonicals and a few other things like no index, no follow, and stuff like that. These things could be handled via the meta tag or via the HTTP header, and most of the time I tend to add them to the HTTP header, and the reason is specifically because of what I just said. It's because of size, right? When you, let's say for example, for the meta tag that is here, then we have the canonical here, okay, you can say this is just one. But what about when I have an international website, when I have let's say 10 languages, and mind you, when you have, let's say, 10 languages, like in this example we just have, let's say, 3, okay, every single page, let's say this page here, has to reference all the other pages in other languages. So for example, the British English language version needs to reference the same page, but its English American counterpart, its global English counterpart, its German counterpart, so and vice versa. So the German page, okay, has to reference in its head all the other versions, okay. As you can imagine, this can quickly adds up, and you may say, oh, we can add that to the sitemap, but that won't help either, because you see, that will make your sitemap extremely big. And usually when you have a big store with millions of products or millions of pages, let's say, every entry in your sitemap is very calculated because of crawling budgets and stuff like that. So you don't want to add things in your sitemap that are not critical, especially if you have a big page. So all that to say, HTTP headers are one of the not so used technical SEO tools, but they can be very handy and can solve a lot of issues. And if you talk to any SEO for the particular case of hreflang, they can be a big headache to add, okay, because they need not only to be added to other basically they can make the page grow big if you add them to the HTTP, to the meta tags or the sitemap, all right, and beyond that, every single page need to reference all the other ones. So HTTP headers solve both these problems, right? Not only like the first problem of the size, but that's just one of the benefits of doing things which are the HTTP headers. So let's see, without further ado, how do we add that to our Shopify Hydrogen storefront? So well, it's very simple. We just grab this thing here, okay, like that, the meta function, and the headers function, and I'm gonna add it here just at the top here. And I've already imported this here, as you can see from the Shopify Remix Oxygen. Okay, and all we have to do is return the headers we want. Okay, so it works on very much on a key value base. So if I put here key, it's for fun, and then cache control and so on. And if you go and look at our collections page, because I added it to the collections page, but if I open the inspector tool here, the network tab, and I refresh the page, okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what was added to our you see the key and the value, right? That's exactly what we added. And same thing for the cache control. But the caching is a very sensitive topic. You need to get that right. So in this video we're gonna concentrate ourselves just on HTTP headers, because caching is going to be covered in the video of its own. All right, so here let's say in previous video we added the canonical via the meta tag. Okay, so if at the moment you see it's commented out, so if I come here, you say it's going to tell us that canonical is missing. But if I put this back, the canonical will be back, obviously, right? Canonical is back. But let's say we want to add the canonical in the HTTP header instead. Well, one thing the way we can do that is very simple. We just go here, we look at the syntax that Google gives us, link, and then the canonical, right? So let's do that. Let's add the link here, link. Okay, let's return link, and then the canonical, let's grab that here like this. Oops, 1 sec. Very good. Now let me add this here like that. Okay, excellent. And then obviously here we want to reference our own website, so we want to reference the actual page that we are interested in. Okay, so the way we do that, obviously we want to grab that from the loader headers, because either you can, if for example this was the home page, we can just say, let's say I can just, obviously if you know the page and it's a static page, you don't necessarily need to get it from the loader the loader headers or the action headers. So if I go here and I refresh the page once more, okay, and I visit here like this, you'll see that we have added the canonical. Now it's no longer in the it's no longer here in the meta description, in the meta tags. It's now added via the HTTP. So when you are actually doing a review, a technical analysis, or a technical diagnostic, SEO diagnostic of a website, most SEO will just limit themselves to looking at the meta tags to see if canonical was added, or for that matter any other thing was added. But unbeknown to them, a lot of things could also be done via HTTP headers. As you can see here, the link, this is perfectly equivalent to what we were doing via meta tags. But obviously this works, but we don't want this to be hard-coded like this, right? So we want, as you can see, Remix allows us to this defines the headers function itself, but the header can come from either the loader, the actual values can come from the loader, the actions, the parent route, okay, or the error boundary component, which we'll cover in the subsequent video, right? So you can basically combine all of these headers and return the final object that you return. Here could be a combination based on what you prioritize. So sometimes you may want to prioritize the you may define some headers in the layout route, okay, that are global, and then you just customize certain fields, certain key values that are specific to individual pages, right? So if we do a console log of these different objects and see what is inside, okay. So if let's say first of all, let's continue to return this like that, okay, and then if I do a console log of action headers, okay, loader headers, parent headers, and then error headers, let's see what is in each of them, okay. All right, let's do this, and then let's refresh the page, okay. All right, let's see. So we can see that the action headers contains nothing, right? The loader headers contains the content type, okay, this is by default. Basically, this is always there by default, although in the loader here we are not returning any header. As you can see, we are just returning the data. We are not returning the header yet. So this is always there by default. And then the parent headers, right, this is not returning anything either. And then the error headers is basically undefined, and the reason is because we don't have an error boundary component in this route. So let's add let's extend the loader headers to add a canonical link in there, and then let's make it, let's return it from the header function here. So if I go back here like that in my loader function, okay, I will create, okay, a header like this, okay, const headers equals basically the same thing that I have here, okay, the same thing that I'm exporting from here. Let me close the meta function for now. This very same thing, okay. Now let me do that again, it's not a big deal. So link, okay, column, and then now I want this dynamic URL here, right? So I'm gonna add this like this. Oops, one sec. All right, canonical URL, and then I close it, and then rel equals canonical. Excellent. All right, now I need to return it from the loader, and you don't want to return that as part of your data because this is not a data, it's a header. So I want to return it like this, okay. This is how you do that. And then if I refresh the page to see what is in there, okay, you're gonna see that the canonical link was added. All right, so if I do it like that, see, now we have link. Remember, before we had only link, before we had only content type, which is added by default, like I said earlier, by the JSON function. Now here we have content type and link, all right, in our header, in our loader header. So now what we want to do, and you can see this is basically a map. It's telling you that this is a map. So we're going to have to parse that by using get and set functions. So you can define a policy here to merge these 4 headers any way you want, right? Remix gives you a lot of flexibility, and for more details, please read the documentation on how you can merge these things. You see here, they give you like a way to merge this. You see, you have the loader cache, the loading caching policy, the loader cache policy, the parent cache policy, and then you mix, you get the mean of the two. All right, if your policy is to be more aggressive with your caching, okay, and then you return that. That's how you merge the two. So in our case, we just have things defined in the loader. So what we're going to do is very simple. We're going to create an object here called const headers equal new headers, okay, and we know what we have defined in our loaders. We know what are useful headers, so we're going to create const useful headers keys, okay, link, okay, link. All right, so this is it here. Now what we want to do next is to loop over these, because sometimes you may have, okay, like in this case we don't want to consider the cache control like I showed you earlier. We just want to consider the link. That's what is useful for us. So what we're going to do is we're going to loop over this, okay, for each, okay, key. You're gonna do this. You're gonna basically set the key to equal set like this to equal whatever is in the loader headers, okay, and we're gonna get like that, get key, okay. And I think TypeScript is going to complain because this could be potentially a null, right? So we're going to force it because we know that we have defined it, right? So we're going to force that using the exclamation mark to force TypeScript to tell TypeScript that we know for sure that it's going to be there. And obviously now all we have to do is return this, and it's no longer going to be hard coded, okay. So if we have a look here now and we refresh the page once more, if I clear this and I refresh the page again, you see that we still have the same result, but now the thing is not hard coded, it's now defined for us from the loader, okay. And if you were to do similarly, if you were to do href lengths like this, if you had multi, and we definitely see how to do that in subsequent videos. This is how you're going to define it. Okay, so you're going to basically have to add in your link here, when you're defining the header here in the loader, okay, you're going to have to add it here. Okay, so you're going to add an extra line for each of the translations. Okay, that's basically how you're going to do that. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Visit our website if you need any help with your shop, and we'll be very happy to help, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Cheers, bye bye.